Donald Trump says he again asked Vladimir Putin if he interfered in the U.S. election, and the Russian leader reassured him he absolutely did not meddle. "I really believe that when he tells me that, he means it," President Trump told reporters on Air Force One. He said every time he sees the Russia leader, Mr. Putin tells him I didn't do that and is very insulted by claims he interfered. "You can only ask so many times. He said he absolutely did not meddle in our election," said the president. Image Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin appeared on good terms at the APEC conference. Mr. Trump said the pair had talked informally 2 or 3 times in the last few days on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC conference in Vietnam. U.S. intelligence agencies believe Russia interfered in last year's presidential election to help Mr. Trump get into the White House. Video Donald Trump's many links to Russia. They are investigating whether Trump officials were involved. President Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, is one of those implicated and has pleaded not guilty to charges including conspiracy against the U.S., but Mr. Putin told reporters in Vietnam that Manafort's alleged links with Russia had been fabricated by the U.S. president's opponents. He also said allegations that a woman described as his niece had met Mr. Trump's former advisor George Papadopoulos were some kind of fantasies. "Everything about the so-called Russian dossier in the U.S. is a manifestation of continuing domestic political struggle," said President Putin. Image Mr. Putin said claims against Paul Manafort were fabricated by Mr. Trump's opponents. There had been mixed messages on whether the two presidents would meet at the Vietnam summit. Despite no formal sit-down meeting, apparently because of scheduling clashes and protocol, the pair spoke informally and had time to talk about Syria. The U.S. president was seen giving his Russian counterpart a friendly slap on the shoulder as the two men in matching blue shirts stood next to each other for a photo ahead of Friday's dinner. A joint Kremlin and White House statement on Saturday said they had reaffirmed their intention to defeat Islamic State in Syria. Video matching outfits and warm handshake for Trump and Putin. It said they agreed to support existing communication channels to ensure the troops' safety in the country, and to continue efforts until the terror group is defeated. They also agreed that the Syrian conflict does not have a military solution and must be resolved through talks, the so-called Geneva process. Mr. Trump is now in Vietnamese capital Hanoi as he comes to the end of his Asia tour. North Korea said on Saturday that Mr. Trump has begged for a nuclear war during his trip. His current trip to our surrounding region is a warmonger's visit for confrontation to rid the DPRK of its self-defensive nuclear deterrence, said a foreign ministry spokesman. Video Tuesday North Korea should come to the table. The president has laid bare his true nature as destroyer of world peace and stability and begged for a nuclear war on the Korean peninsula, the statement added. "A doted like Trump can never frighten us or put a stop to our advance," said the spokesman, whose statement was released via the North's KCNA news agency. The secretive regime has carried out a number of rocket tests this year as President Trump and Kim Jong-un trade threats. The president earlier this week warned Pyongyang not to underestimate the U.S. and called on China, North Korea's biggest trading partner, and Russia to do more. Mr. Trump, speaking at a business event in Beijing, said time is quickly running out. "We must act fast and hope China will act faster and more effectively on this problem than anyone." I'm also calling on Russia to help rein in this potentially very tragic situation. While in South Korea, Mr. Trump also offered North Koreans a path towards a much better future, urging the regime to come to the table and make a deal over its nuclear program.